hard in its own regard. Even in our previous interview, when we were able to really figure things out here with Velocity, Velocity said I was forced to really pick up the pace and learn different strategists.
Yeah, absolutely here, as they are echoing the same results of the last teams. Again, this is a new pick and ban system. You may not see this in competitive play. They are picking and banning for and against their own team. It doesn't apply to both, which really drastically changes things up dramatically. Joblessbums getting rid of Storm right off the rip, though, there for Shikigami.
All right. Already highlighting that as, of course, our first map on domination, as it's always been so far, is going to be on Krakoa this time around. Going to be able to save the Magneto in favor for Joblessbums, while the Luna Snow is off the table for Joblessbums, since that is the ban that Shikigami has leaned into.
Yeah, that first spot should just be called the Yima spot, and the third one, the Magneto, because that is what we're seeing nonstop. And there's the Ultron being banned away for Shikigami. They're not going to have access to it, and Punisher being saved from Jobless. Again, we've seen more Frank Castle, more Punisher in just these couple of games than we did for like 2 seasons, Vicky, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm loving it, of course, making sure that those changes, buffs are really coming out to play here in pro play, and we're actually going to get the same saves from both sides. Going to be able to save the Magneto and saving both the Punisher.
Yeah, I would say way less Hela than I thought, too. Obviously, we had Delina play a little bit of Hela. We had some there at the beginning, but we're seeing that Punisher take some of that hit scan roll away, which you're obviously going to want against these deadly flyers. But yeah, Doctor Strange being taken away. Obviously, these teams did their homework as they're locking in. Are we going to get 5 Spider-Mans? Probably not even one, as they lock in what they've got in British Tree right away on the name, on the button, playing group.
All right, I like that here too, because the first initial thing that we also saw was that there is no Wolverine for Shikigami. That is going to be the ban that we had seen previous, I believe, here too. So looking on the other side on what they could bring out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm liking what we're seeing here. By the way, as I mentioned, Hela, of course, that's going to be what is locked in there. You got the double hit scans. Not going to see any flyers, but you are able to just get so much damage and pressure from the off angle. Now, listen, a season ago, the team with the group had so much momentum. Yes, we've had some back-to-back changes to the Ironwood wall, but still such a dynamic vanguard separating not just the damage, Vicky, but the heals from the strategist to their team. It is one of the big brain ways to play the tree.
Yeah, I agree here too. And controlling a lot of space or playing monkey in the middle essentially is going to be important depending on which first map we're going to start off here on Krakoa. Now looking back and forth, obviously seeing that Joblessbums were leaning into that Storm here too, seeing if they're going to be able to stick with it instead. No, right, we're going to see a different look here. And ready starting off with that group, with that Magneto. We've been seeing Magneto so often. I'm not surprised, of course. What a strong vanguard he's been within your own respective games here. And of course, in top level play, nothing's really changed in that regard. And Shikigami with the double shield boys instead with the Doctor Strange and the Magneto.
Oh my gosh, taking the fight to them right away. Shikigami not afraid of the big lights as we open up the Hellfire Gala with some elite action, but Valk not stunned by it, immediately taking down Doctor Strange and opening up with huge momentum to try to get this point as it unlocks.
Madara was the first one to be the victim there of the first initial engagement. Joblessbums showcasing why they could be the ones to rock Wolverine against Shikigami.
That was quite the portal for Madarite. I don't even know if the full team commitment was there. I mean, at least one was, but the Strange going down early. Good job resetting, not staggering like we've seen so far. Early turret play, early and often, and getting that point right away with that much ease is going to be so tough for Shikigami to really turn around.
My attention here, how quick to get some of these ults on board. Ultins. Here, being on that Punisher is going to be able to start doing some extra poke pressure. Madara, again, taking a lot of damage. Tries to get away, and it's Pride that is sought out first. Meanwhile, over to the side, see Biblical trying to get something popping off, but then it's Olsen's that, once again, uncontested, is just still going to be able to put in a lot of his damage.
Olsen's, that's going to be the battle to look for, is Biblical versus Olsen's. Biblical now switching from Hela to Human Torch is going to have to take down this Punisher, or he's going to have free reign of the intense DPS that he pumps out. And we've seen that so far. 2 ultimates to allow them to go in, but this is about to be the battle that we just saw. Lots of colors everywhere. Both teams are locked and loaded for this big fight.
Oh, it's Joblessbums that have a lot more to cycle through here at first, too. As Shikigami try to be the opener with the final judgment. Keeping everyone alive, though, is going to be the eternal bond on from the Cloak and Dagger from Joblessbums. Unfortunately, though, they did lose out on Denji as well here first. So the unfortunate fact that they don't have that meteor there just to try to negate any sort of approach from Shikigami allows them to move up. Now Joblessbums here trying to keep themselves alive. Forky Dog also has that God of Mischief. Shikigami finding these double picks, though, is going to give him the advantage as Joblessbums now trying to ring around the Rosie off to the other side of that middle console.
Yeah, honestly, great ult timing there for Wicca, able to get that ultimate up to protect themselves from the entangling prison from Groot. I like the ult there from British Tree, but unfortunately was not able to connect on that. And hey, they're able to turn the tide here. They do have some ultimates, Agamotto left, as well as Supernova. So they have plenty to put up a performance. And really on the side of Joblessbums, you don't have any support ults to your name as of at least a good minute.
Gonna be a bit here, although with Biblical being on this Human Torch, having a Supernova ready to go, Madara right there too with the Eye of Agamotto. Try to flip this so that way they can at least get a little bit more contention here on the point. But here's the Eye of Agamotto. It catches 4 here. Magneto ult now activated. Gets shuts down here too as the Supernova is activated. Here comes the God of Mischief. Forky Dog finally going to be able to try to utilize that here. And then gets shut down as the Punisher Final Judgment starts to open things up. And the rest of Joblessbums, they flip that almost immediately.
Yeah, and they not only did they just get the win there, but they were able to really squeeze out some ultimates that they probably were hoping to save there for the second round. But honestly, when it's that close and you already have the point, you're maybe looking for that momentum as the Punisher there using that. But I gotta say, right now, the player I'm looking at, Valk, doing a great job just getting tons of damage, but Forky going off as Loki is what I like to see there, at least in the heal department.
Look at that, 13.7k. Bit of a strategist, so diff right here, looking on both sides here, despite Wicca still being able to not only have ace, but keeping the rest of the team alive. A little bit of a swap up, though, it looks like, just to get a little bit of shield going right before you exit out of the spawn room doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And going in here, we're going to have me with the Cloak and Dagger ultimate to open things up and probably look to combine that, though, with the Punisher ult. It's either that or Luna or one or the other. We've seen a lot of that deadly duo today. But great job for both teams. They just gave the point way too early. I don't think we're going to get that aggressive portal this time around as we kick off to this map of Krakoa.
That was the best, too, to open things up just that way. And it looks like right now, Madara is already getting set up here before getting the jump on the rest of Jobless.
With the turret, this is like stuff I love to see back in even like gold stuff. Yeah, the turret play from the Punisher into the DP. You'll love to see if they planned it. They played it as Lawrence putting on lots of pressure here. And again, though, they just can't afford to get that early pick. Let's see if they can change the storyline. Shikigami trying to get that advantage, but lots of bullets coming out from Ultins, who has been the better Punisher thus far.
Oh, it's hard to get an aggressive portal play, though, when you have British Tree setting up all these walls, setting up the entanglement prison, and 1-2 as they go down, and the follows from Ultins. It is a team wipe in favor for Joblessbums.
Yeah, it looked like he was about to like emote or what, like at the end of those eliminations. I mean, that is what I'm talking about with Groot and the potential of what he can carry on the Vanguard side, but also immense damage, displacement, all of it. Shikigami has to win this fight with what they have in Ultimates. They have both other strategists ready to lock and load, and they also have the Meteor in to counter if needed.
Hello, I'm looking at me right now having that Eternal Bond. That's going to be the big playmaker here. Same thing could be said about Forky Dog having that God of Mischief. Shikigami looking for an opportunity right around these Groot walls, which have been a problem, but that first pick is going to be big here for Shikigami.
Yeah, that's big there as we have the combos going. This is going to be an important Magneto ult, and unfortunately, Pride unable to get the connection needed. That was going to be everything there to shut down the full squad. Ultin's trading with Lawrence. Agamotto coming out, but able to not get a huge connection. For Supernova going to wrap up the deal as Biblical is trying to get enough pressure and push the team away from the point.
And Ben here out here with the Magneto shields, though, have been on point on top of Ultins, trying to enable the damage output instead. He does find himself falling here. Here comes British Tree with his own respective ult, and losing out on 2 from Shikigami. Make it 3 now. It's going to force another reset from this team.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like the Hellas that we saw in the last tournaments are the Punishers now. Just really able to shut down and get that early pick. And honestly, I saw Lawrence got the pick on Valk. I thought that was going to be a different story, but unable to connect that Meteor in. Pride, unfortunately, they just had too many ultimates to deal with at that time as we get our last push for map 1.
Also great the fact that Valk being on that storm, you have that goddess boost, you have that mobility push there too, so you can get right back into the action just as quick. Valk does have that Omega Hurricane ready to go. Same thing here, to be safe for Shikigami having that final judgment. It's just trying to shut things down. If you even have the chance, even with the Magneto Shield over you though, here comes the damage output. British Street follows up, so does Forky Dog. That's 2 out for Shikigami, and Wicca has no invisible barrier to keep the team alive.
Time ticking away, every button pressed, every cooldown spent. This has been absolute chaos as we wrap up the first map, going to No Job, Joblessbums. And I gotta say, great performance for a team that is lesser known as an understatement. These guys are here on the big stage. And for Shikigami, Vicky, I think it wrapped it up perfectly to what they said. Great individually, they have to come together as a team, and I need to see more of that team coordination play.
I don't know, after that, I feel like Joblessbums maybe not be jobless for as long as they think out here, too. I love how they also have, like, the no job clan tag right underneath here. But looking at the stats in total, it was a very big different playmaker with those ultimate usages, specifically in favor for Joblessbums, which I think was a highlight here for this team.
Yeah, and the damage was there for Shikigami, but obviously the big difference is the final hits and just connecting when needed. Also, just want to shout out British Tree and what he was able to do. 30,000 damage block, 10k on the damage with 6 final hits. That's why Groot is one of the most lethal heroes in this game. As we take a look at some of the best plays here, and Oltens was at the helm of it.
One of the most banned heroes out here. You see something similar here when it comes to Emma Frost and even Storm. And looking at some of these highlights too, look at those Groot walls working around the point. British Tree still sticking onto that Groot. And then Shikigami, they had a little bit of life here before Joblessbums were able to coordinate to overtake that first point before seeing the action here from the prison entanglement from British Tree, and then Olsen's to be able to take out the rest.
Yeah, it was, from what I can tell, the Vanguard difference on this particular map and just the comfortability here. You've got nothing to lose if you are Shikigami, this brand new team. I know high expectations from what they've been able to pull off as an organization thus far in Marvel Rivals, but this team, there's going to be growing pains, but this team can lock in, get together as we do head into our second map. British Tree, though, it was my biggest highlight, as well as Valk. We're seeing more Storm play than I expected. I thought actually Storm was going to be a bit more banned in Ignite.
You know, it's just funny because, you know, having a British Tree come up and play Groot, it's just very in tune with the brand. I'm loving it here from Joblessbums, and then making some of the biggest playmaking abilities there for that first map.
Yeah, not trying to hide who they're picking at all. That's what you love to see. Seen a lot from Vinny and saw a lot of Groot in the past, but listen, Hero's still great, still a lot you could do with them, and a lot of that comes from that ultimate. Whether the team's behind him or not, we saw that the double walls up, pumps out the damage, crazy stuff, and I think Shikigami is going to adjust their pick bans a little bit, because when you don't know the team, yes, you have some homework done, but you don't know exactly what they want to do and their strategies. Groot may not make it to this next map.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see the Groot, or even maybe the Punisher. The Punisher being a very big reason as to why Joblessbums were able to execute and win a lot of those team fights as well.
Yeah, because whenever you're Lawrence has to have the Punisher play on the Flyer and the Groot walls. There's just too much to keep up with. You have too many jobs for one hero. It was tough. But guys, don't go anywhere. We've got a quick break as we're going to be heading into our second match. Will it be another 2-0? Will Shikigami respond? Don't go anywhere. Hello guys, welcome back to Marvel Rivals Ignite. Now I know what you might be thinking. I'm going jobless now. After that performance, I don't need a job. I'm gonna do the same thing they just did. But don't, okay? This team is different, and I'm excited because wow, they had a performance there, Vicky.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be jobless for long. That's the thing, right? Like, if you make a performance like that to open things up for your debut here in the Marvel Rivals Ignite, I mean, that's a great way to start things off for a team called Joblessbums, which, you know what, just may as well just change that org list real quick. Just let them know, everybody around, that they are free agents at this point.
Yeah, and listen, now Shikigami, they get to pick the map, what they're comfortable with, get that home court advantage. They can pick Convoy or Convergence. Again, if you're just coming in, Domination's always that first map that we go into. But guys, we've got to check it out. We saw a little bit of thing play today, some Invisible Woman action. Well, if you love those heroes, we got brand new skins for them. And check this out. It comes out in about an hour from right now, in-game, in-store. We've got the Future Foundation skins for both Sue Storm and Ben Grim. What do you think of these skins, Vicky?
I want that Sue Storm skin so bad. Of course, I do. I'm an Invisible Woman enthusiast, so it's always so nice to see her get some cool skins. But look at her hairstyle. I'm loving it. And her earrings, too, on top of it all.
Yeah, oh, it's killer. And look at it. I mean, it's a gun show for the Thing over there. You know, maybe not the best meta for him, but hey, we're seeing it today. Triple Vanguard. The Thing is the way to go. And we've been teased Spider-Man skin in the bag. The Future Foundation whole set has absolutely slapped. Excited to see these skins finally enter the game. All right, as we head in, we've got our next match and our next map underway. What stood out to you there in that matchup against the No Jobs, against Shikigami, and what do you want to see different this time around?
I love you said no jobs out here. No jobs. The way that they're holding it down right now, I have to say it's that group. I think also the strategists were doing a really good job for Joblessbums, really keeping it down there too. And then looking on the other side, what Shikigami could do a little bit differently here, they were staggered a lot, which kind of tends to be what we've seen thus far throughout the course of the day. It's been like the theme here, and Shikigami maybe not finding that momentum where I feel like Marvel Rivals in general, it's momentum's important in any competitive environment. But in Marvel Rivals, it's essentially so important, especially when you start off on domination for every single series. That kind of sets up the pace going into map number 2, depending on whether we'll be going onto Convoy or Convergence.
Yeah, and listen, no shade at all, but the teams that were from the Marvel Rival Invitational, they got their spot right away. Shikigami being one of those teams, but this is not the team that got that spot. So this is a new team, right? Even though they got that spot in Joblessbums, they earn their way into this seeding, which obviously comes with a bit more unity. And again, as they've said, they are great independently. They got to come together as a team. Emma, ban right away. We look at the Hall of Dajalia. Convergence.
Hall of Dahlia. This is one of my favorite maps, by the way. Always be jamming out to the music in the back.
A very good one, and a very tough map to get that first point. That's where it really is separated. You can tell right away how it's going to go on that first point. And we've got a Luna ban right out the gate. Shikigami getting rid of that or Jobless. And again, same song, same dance. Magneto saves. Got to have one or the other. So we're looking at similar pick of bans that we saw, which I thought would be changed up a bit on Shikigami's end.
Also getting that Ultron ban too. Looking on the side of Joblessbums, just in case they want to try to bring out the Flyers, because not only does Ultron get wiped out, but so does Storm. And then the saving on the Punisher from the opposite end.
Yeah, the Punishers were saved last time. Lawrence was, again, having to do a lot dealing with a flying storm that Val played a lot. And then also you had the Groot from the British tree. Will this last ban be Groot? We'll have to see, but right now they're really just spreading out their bans all together, and Wolverine being banned.
Oh, wait a minute. Am I seeing that right? No banned from Shikigami's side?
Yeah, no, they're picking it right.
Okay, all right, here we go. I was like wondering with it being unlocked at the same time. Although,
I've seen it today.
Yeah, we did. I saw it within EMEA where a team just didn't ban anything. I'm wondering, no way, not again. But we did see this last time with these double saves on the Punisher, like for that first map.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that with that Wolverine ban in, I thought they were definitely going to get rid of Groot, right? Because that's the biggest sign, hey, we're going to get rid of the biggest counter to what we're doing best. And instead they went with a Human Torch, and obviously that's going to tip the cap over to Valk and how well they play the hero. And you can tell they don't want to deal with a lot of the craziness of the Flyers as we head into the very beginning of Wakanda and Convergence. We'll see on the defense, on the offense, how they're going to set up. This personally, you don't see in high play, but I love Penny Parker on defense on this map with the double nest.
Oh yeah. And with the changes too, I keep bringing up like the Rocket Penny team up. That always goes so hard as well. It acts as like the double res beacon too for the BRB real quick. And looking back at your point, talking about how Valk didn't really want to deal with a lot of that poke pressure from the Punishers. No Storm on the board here, but looking at the way that Olsen's had played, I feel like this is really going to also continuously help out Joblessbums, looking at the way that they had played already in that first map.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, as look at, you already have Shikigami, you've got the Doctor Strange portal ready to go yet again. There's no way the aggression comes. This is just a little bit of spying on what they've got going on, but nope, the turret, this is their specialty at this point.
Oh, and they do it from above too, so that way it's a mixture back and forth, dancing around both of those portals at both sides have now just put down, and they've lost out on Ben here too as the first casualty.
Nice early pick spawns right there, but you do slow down the team from what is going to be their portal on a highly contested map. Usually you like to see the portal on the actual point. Use as a pseudo wall, in fact. But speaking of walls, that group's setting up for success here, trying to push forward, but Lawrence putting on constant pressure as they're making their way up Main Street.
This is what I like to see here from Lawrence, putting in a lot of that pressure that we weren't really able to see within that first map here. Forky Dog already reaching that 74% on that invisible boundary. Here comes Biblical over to the side before managing to get right back hand in hand with the rest of Shikigami, but they lost to Amadara.
Yeah, our first Psylocke play of at least America at night there. And Ulton's doing what we just saw on the last map and going crazy. And look at Lawrence in ult form running away. You don't see that often from Frank Castle. Trying to escape, but to no avail. And just like that, that was an easy cap for Jobless, who's really wowing me right now.
Actually popping off right there too. He's seamless in being able to get that point to start getting this point moving now too. Joblessbums over on the other side will also have 2 ults available after Forky Dog had made that swap up.
Yeah, I said that first point is hard to get, and they made it look like light work. No job as they stamped on Krakoa. They're looking to stamp it here on Wakanda. Putting a lot of pressure early. Pride trying to get that poke damage. Does have that Meteor Am, and ultimate-wise, this is where you're going to want to counter and try to get something rolling with a Psylocke. And Chicken does get the me pick, which has been a massive player for them.
Yeah, because me had committed to taking advantage of that Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond. Oh, now there's nothing like that table. We're here is essential for trying to get through this initial corner, because you know that you're out in the open. It's very easy for Shikigami to farm some of these ults for poke damage.
Yeah, honestly, solid job from not only Shikigami, but also Jobless realized what ults that the fight was not going their way, and they didn't commit everything. They still have Groot, they still have both Vanguard ults ready to go, but Shikigami can feel good to take a breath here as they round around this corner that, I don't know about you, this is a tough little part of the map to get around.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this open field out here too, just a lot of open area, and now you have the final judgment to push them back. Here comes a Meteor from Ben as well, playing from inside the invisible boundary, then answering over to the other side here. You had Wicca with the Luna Snow ult, the Eye of Agamotto to find the 2 picks, make it 3 here to follow up from Lawrence, and another team fight win for Shikigami.
There you go, Shikigami. Lawrence able to survive what was going to be a bin ult from Magneto, taking them down. But that was really what kept the team going, and the juice of Madara as well. Excited to see Shikigami now starting to come together here, and the advantage with that Psylocke ult, they can get another quick strategist pick. We'll see if they open up that way.
Saw it being done before already. Liverpool only getting set up in that backline with the Dance of the Butterfly here. British Tree, though, is going to be the issue to counter that, depending on how early it's going to be utilized to get around this next corner. It's all about that Strangling Prison that you have to look out for. They have 3 other ults as the counter from the Dance of Butterflies. Here comes in from immediately that Cloak and Dagger with the Eternal Bond.
Yeah, good rotation. Me was ulting forward. They were able to use the Eternal Bond and go forward, not get picked up in that Psylocke. But here is the Groot ult into the combo. Shikigami, though, doing a great job trading instead. You don't often see the Groot ult lead to death. But Shikigami making this corner their own. Nothing like that first point of this map.
Put that Strangling Prison away, Shikigami. What a nice clap back onto Joblessbums, who had expended so much, by the way. They really only have Ultons with that final judgment coming back.
This is what I expected to see, both these teams be a bit more competitive between one another. And you're right, I mean, they had to use the Cloak and Dagger ult to initiate that. They had the Groot ult expended. Now Lawrence able to really uncontested use Final Judgment, who British Tree is going to look to obviously counter, but 15%, they're far away.
Now over to the skies here, seeing if they can get into position. No Dance of Butterflies here, but instead you do have the Final Judgment, and then you have the answer back with the Fate of Both Worlds. The Meteor to shut down Ultons, though, is the momentum that Shikigami needs to hold their feet on top of this point. Another KO here as Joblessbums may look to back away here to get another reset without expending even more than what they've already have.
Look at this switch between the shotgun and the AR. Beautiful job here, Lawrence, doing a different Punisher than we saw in Krakoa. And that was our first successful Magneto counter to Punisher. We've seen a lot of bubbles bursted today. The only bubble that was bursted there were the hope on that push with a minute and a half left. Joblessbums needs to pull it together.
The way that Shikigami is cycling through the strategist ults is also fantastic. Kinetic is about to have that Fatal Throats here, rather, that Eternal Bond. And looking on the other side here too, Wicca had used up that Fatal Throats just to keep the rest of Shikigami alive from the onslaught of pressure from Ultens.
Yeah, nice get back there from Biblical, trying to get a little bit of healing. They do have the Dance of the Butterflies, but Bib coming in with the Agamotto. They have to capitalize off this. They're using it all right here. Comes the Meteor in, the combination, and they do get the connection. Taking 3, no 4, now 5 down. Able to push through, and finally, after 3 minutes, get the point.
British Tree doesn't have to just be the tree on the Groot out here, just so that way he can get these going for the rest of Joblessbums, finally getting over to that second checkpoint.
Yeah, they didn't need to ban the Groot. Instead, they just changed the strategy there, and it was obviously showing successful. I like that British Tree is showing a little bit of their flexibility as well. And they've got the Invisible Boundary combined with Final Judgment to get this push even further. This Agamotto has to nail if you're Madara.
The Dance of the Butterflies, Biblical looking to make a move here over to the back line before jumping right in to isolate. But the beautiful Invisible Boundary is going to help Steve keep them alive. They've lost out on Wicca. They take care of Mile, and Ultens now move up with the rest of Joblessbums. It's fine if you don't have Mai here. It's okay because now you get to at least clear this next corner after losing out on Valk.
Big pick there, getting rid of Valk as the Psylocke. Best way to take care of a Psylocke is another one. Unfortunately, the timing of the Dance of the Butterflies there lined up with both Final Judgment and the Invisible Boundary that we saw from Invisible Woman. And look at what Shikigami has in the tank, though. They have everything to stop this. A minute left. You got 4 ults going 5, and this is it.
All right, getting started here too. Shikigami having all the answers before Lawrence just clears up the hall right now on this Punisher Final Judgment. 3 is the tree here for Joblessbums. They take out 4, and now it's going to be a reset around that corner.
And not only that, they didn't use much. And that's what you really needed, because if you used it all in that last fight, I've been there before on ladder, right? You can't hold 2 in a row, especially as those ultimates are charging up or Jobless. They've got everything they need to hold this out for another 37 seconds.
Span now moving up. He's got the Eye of Agamotto. Tries to block it over to the other side to help protect the backline here. Lawrence still finds Valk though, and time is being wasted away. You got less than 30 seconds now on the clock. Madara taking a lot of damage. The rest of Shikigami though, they have both strategist ults just to help the sustainability. The Eye of Agamotto, what timing that activation was for Fate of both worlds from the Luna Snow.
Yeah, Wicca with the perfect timing, keeping everybody alive on that Agamotto that was going to be lethal. And I love Madara there with the insane whip to combo. But British Tree showing his flexibility yet again on that Meteor M. And this is where everything's coming out for both teams. The ultimates, the fireworks, and Ultens picking up where he left off in Krakoa with the double E limb. But the spawn's closer. They can push back right now, Vicky.
Biblical trying to get away though. Valk still was able to find Kinetic with the Dance of Butterflies here too. Shikigami down 2, and Madara won't be here to activate the Agamotto themselves.
Yeah, and unfortunately might be a little too late, but this is going to give a little stall time there as Biblical's able to get their backline at least down where the team has to turn attention, giving space for Lawrence to push forward with Final Judgment. Pride taking down the British Tree. Time is ticking. The teammates are falling, and this could be Shikigami for a last-second hold.
Wait, Maido having the Eternal Bond. This is going to be even bigger. The Agamotto coming in for Shikigami as Joblessbums tries to keep the dream alive to get this point all the way to the finish line now. Ultens takes that first KO onto Pride. Fighting for their lives is Madara after using the Agamotto. Biblical now finding Valk constantly back and forth. Their Ultens still alive regardless because of that Eternal Bond that was utilized earlier.
How did Madara stay alive there just in time for the trade of Biblical to come and get rid of that other Psylocke? You've got the Agamotto now trading against it, but Wicked coming in with a clutch. Oh, this team is just a sliver off the overtime clock, but it's enough for now Kinetic to get Cloak and Dagger's ultimate to trade that with Forky Dog, and we're in for a show, Ricky.
What? Oh, another Agamotto? This is 3 Agamottos in the same fight as it keeps going, but Shikigami finally kicked Joblessbums off this point.
That's what we've come for here in Marvel Rivals Ignite. That's what we've wanted to see. My goodness, at first I thought that was going to be just Joblessbums for the taking, but Shikigami doing a great job to fight back. I still don't know how Madara was able to survive a Psylocke just right up to the chest. Great job there for Shikigami to turn things around.
Wow, I'm not over that final fight. The back and forth, the desperate Valk swap, by the way, to the Spider-Man. Oh my goodness, everything being taken out there just to hold it down.
Yeah, at one point, I mean, all the ultimate charges were down to 0%. Next thing you know, it's like our 5th Agamotto coming out. Just complete perfection of play there from both teams. I thought Wicca really came up clutch there with the best ult in the game. Evaded both worlds, get that 12 seconds of immortality and not fall into Magneto. Great swap there for British Tree as well. Both teams played a lecture there. Let's see if they can do the same on reversed roles.
Now looking at the stats here too. Both backlines really putting in the numbers. Feel like here, Lawrence really stepping things up here for Shikigami as well. But it was a lot of that back and forth from both of these teams here, as it looks like we're going to open up with another Doctor Strange portal with the Punisher.
Yeah, I thought both Lawrence and just Vanguard play altogether was just stepped up a massive notch. And shutting down what was the previous strategies. After that first point, it was looking rough there, and we're seeing both portals come out. Can we get the counter portal? It looks like they may have done as successfully as the turrets, pushing them into the spawn immediately.
Oh, the back and forth here? All right, forces them off the turret for now. It's going to be halted, but buying in at least a little bit of time while the time takes away here.
Yeah, nice cloak bubble there to keep the team alive on the turret side of the bubble, as he could just rain down fire as Ultins does. As they're going up yet again Main Street, you could go left, you could go right, but we do have up top, keep Valk as that sidelock, staying that for this map and trying to get that early strategist pick. And looks like he might be going there for Wiccan and Cloak, forcing the Biblical to go his way.
The Psylocke v Psylocke that you had highlighted earlier too in that last round as well, before going right back onto the high ground. It's that Valk versus Biblical matchup. Honora still slowly racking up enough of that ult charge here too. Especially if you look on the other side, Forky Dog's about to have that rocket ult first ready to go. And before trying to hold it down for the rest of this team, Shikigami also have Kinetic just to keep this team alive. It's going to be answered back here from the Eternal Bond on both sides.
Yeah, Internal Bonds trading is important, and there's the first Agamotto into the Internal Bonds. But we do have Lawrence with that early Final Judgment, and this could be the difference maker on this first push as Ultin's going down. But there's British Trey with the swap and then double Elim.
And being able to get your Cloak and Dagger back just as quick, because you have that BRB from Forky Dog before now the Hail Mary coming in from Valk just to do enough of that damage. Joblessbums, though, they stay here, they stay on the point, forcing back Shikigami after taking out Wicca first.
Hello, British Tree. You're impressing me on Groot and now on Magneto, but Biblical getting a nice little pick on Ultins to at least stagger a little bit, but British Tree makes swift work of it. And I gotta say, the Psylocke v Psylocke is that much more entertaining, as her invisibility going down a full second this season and a half. But my gosh, that was just elite play from British.
Wow. Also, the fact that Joblessbums were just able to hold that down. Forky Dog once again bringing back the other strategists into the fray without having to make that walk of shame back from spawn. Here, Shikigami wasting time. A minute and less than 50 seconds now on the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Here as they're going down up the middle, Lawrence trying to get that ult charge built up. They do have Pride to counter what is going to be Ultin's quick Final Judgment. Then can he get a massive Agamotto to shut down things quickly here, holding up the shield, getting the protection, and honestly, this is what I do. Run and hide. Just let him burn through this ultimate. British Tree, though, not letting Biblical get out of there. That is a big pick for an early stagger.
I am not picking that. Does get 2 stuns, though, off of the eye of Agamotto. Answer back and forth here between Joblessbums and Shikigami. Now the meteor of him comes in and a nice knife onto Forky Dog. Did not expect that here, too, but this is great news for Shikigami just while they wait for Wicca to come right back to recontest.
From downtown, but that's why I was so impressed with the initial push on the last match. We just saw this is such a hard part of the map to cap, as we're seeing right here, and it was easily done from Jobless. Proven to be a lot harder here for Shiki, as they're going to be going into potentially their last fight, 50 seconds on the clock.
Now into this next fight, they will be able to have that fate of both worlds if Wicca could boost that up here. Kinetic 2 to just start the engagement with the internal bond, but it is that Punisher that has been a problem. Ultin's putting in so much pressure because we need to also do the next trade here between the eternal bond like we saw earlier on. Oh my goodness, that meteor just completely annihilated.
That, I mean, Jobless had every ult ready to go, and that was one of the biggest blocks you could possibly do for getting rid of British's ult. But it's too little too late, because Ben nails the Agamotto that lets the team just completely capitalize on it. And at this point, it's the last desperation for this match and Shikigami if they're going to avoid double elimination bracket.
There's another chance here. If they can get right here to at least contest, but it's not going to allow them to. I mean, they are way too far. The stagger was real here. And Shikigami, they fall once again, allowing Joblessbums to move right up, taking map number 2.
Wow. I mean, honestly, great team effort and defensive hold there at the end. But sometimes early mistakes can end up costing you the entire game. And we saw it there. They gave up that first point way too quickly on their side. Because when you can burst through that, Vicky, you're able to really steamroll from there. But there was just no momentum after 2-3 fights of shutdown.
I also felt like they were once again, like looking at Joblessbums, they were able to cycle through their ultimates in such a great way on their defense. Yes, they lost some members. Forky Dog, I feel like having that BRB respawn also really helped out, bringing my right back into the fray. Having that extra support really goes a long way. As we take a look at the difference here in terms of stats, yeah, both backlines doing a really good job there too, but then it was the Vanguard diff. I really feel like that made a difference here for No Job.
I love to see that. Look at that. No job winner. You are a winner if you're unemployed, at least right now in Marvel Rivals Ignite. And did you see that casual 40k bomb from Lawrence on damage? Great valiant effort there, but the spread of damage in elims that they were able to pull off for No Job was truly what made the difference.
It really helped enable the Punisher impact that we saw from Jobless. Ultins had a lot of standout moments. Shikigami tried to match that too with the Doctor Strange and Punisher themselves. But then over to the other side, once Ultins came in, then the cycling with the support ults, just allowing them to help with the sustainability and then have that Punisher ult ready to go. Then, of course, we saw a few times the interaction of the Dance of the Butterfly before seeing if they had an opportunity to counter that with a strategist, but they didn't.
Yeah, and I thought strategist play was solid there, and really Valk with a great response to the Psylocke. Biblical was having their way with Jobless until they had that match Psylocke v Psylocke, and that started to really paint the difference here. Again, tip of the cap if you're just now coming in, a crazy end to this part of the map and a fun way to kick off Ignite in the games we expect to see here. But Joblessbums getting the job done with perfect play from all roles. I'm excited to see what they have to bring as we move on in tournament.
I can't believe we're already over and close to our last series, Cozy. I mean, it's literally been non-stop 2-0s back-to-back in the Americas.
Yeah, we have a lot of 2-0s happening right now, but again, these teams, they're getting rid of the nerves. They're getting rid of their first pro play experience for some of them, and I'm telling you, the lights do not seem bright for a couple of these teams out here. No Job, Joblessbums being one of those. And this was a team I looked for. I was looking for stuff about them. They are underground. They're new players, and they performed.
Me too. And, you know, aside from like just the title of their team name that spoke for itself, I feel like just looking at their performance, if they keep this up, I'm interested to see how that's going to fare against of the likes of just harder hitting teams. British Tree specifically was a standout player, in my opinion, looking at that series.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually curious how many Lord icons that their whole team has. If they're jobless, they've got to have, I mean, a roster full of them. I saw one guy had all of them within the game. Crazy stuff we're seeing. Yeah, even Ultron finished it off. Just wild business out there. I'm hoping we get to interview someone though with Joblessbums, because I want to know who is this team.
Yeah, actually getting word that we may be talking to one of the members of Joblessbums that I'm very excited to really pick his brain, because I feel like aside from British Tree, the other player that had that just opportunity to do whatever they wanted on that Punisher was Ultins, as we had highlighted, especially in that first map.
Yeah, I was going to say Krakoa, that was Ultin's map. You know, they tried to get a little Hella going early often. That was the quickest swap I've ever seen. Human Torch was up next. Wasn't the answer. I think Ultin's really was crazy against what Lawrence was bringing as well. Lawrence bringing more at the end there. But we're going to welcome in Ultin's right now. Say hello to our first member of Joblessbums, Ultins.
Yo,
How
yo,
you
yo.
doing, buddy? Welcome.
What's good? Hey,
Dude, that was awesome.
That was a well-fought match.
Hey, man, good job, and it was fun to watch your team play. Again, I've been interested to see a lot about you guys. Tell me, who is Joblessbums? Are you jobless? Who are you guys?
I'm unemployed. That's true. That is true. I'm a full-time grinder, you know, 14 hours a day. I'm on this game. I love this game. It's my favorite game by far.
I love this energy right now coming in from you, Ultins. All right, well, I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty questions right now, because you guys really put on a performance. It was a very fun match to watch. But I'm curious, what you guys did against Shikigami, do you guys think that that would work against a team like 100 Thieves per se, the way that you guys opened up as dominating as you were? Or do you feel like that's just kind of something that you guys could pull off against teams that may not expect it?
Honestly, 100 Thieves is a really good team. They have way more scrim practice than us. But I think we could pull it off, potentially. We have a really good energy in our team. You know, vibes are good. We trust our IGL and we trust our members. Like, just that simple. Be a good match.
Well, listen, man, first, I dig the white headphones. Gotta say, gotta get a quick shout out to that. Hey, I want to know about your team a little bit, man. How long have you guys been playing together? You know, how long has this team been grinding as one unit? You know, Shikigami, new team, new together especially. Have you guys been playing together a lot, or?
Yeah, I was a sub at first. Infamy used to play for me. She was a Psylocke, but she's busy. But I'm just the Punisher filler right now. Been practicing a lot of Punisher. And yeah, just like we've been playing together for about a month maybe.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
That's all, man.
Oh, wow. All right. I mean, following up from that, you talked about having a lot of faith in your IGL. Do you guys have an analyst or a coach that helps dissect your games to really get into it? Or is it just like a team effort? Okay.
We're our own coaches, basically.
Okay.
Love to see it, man. Love to see it.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you really played like you guys have a whole team behind you, because I've got to say, impressed with what I saw out there. Punisher doing great this patch. Listen, you know, tell me about some of your, you know, the diversion, a big part of your strategy, but tell me some of the heroes that you like to play before Punisher comes out. You know, you must have a bunch of Lord icons. Who's some of your favorite heroes in Rivals?
All the hit scan, man. Psylocke, Star-Lord, Punisher. I was a Psylocke main for a minute, but she got nerfed pretty heavily. So I'm just trying to adapt to the new season. Hit scan,
well,
main, baby.
Valk did a good job there, doing that role with Biblical and that.
Valk's nuts.
Listen, anything, I want to give the floor to you. What do you have to say to the audience, to everyone watching, about you, about your team? You know, shout it out.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys watching, bro. Like, we really put it all into this game, and we're excited. We're just excited. It's just that simple. Ready to keep going.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we will see you in yet another interview, and good luck in your next match. Studying up, getting ready. We will see you in just a couple of days, man. Thanks for coming on, Oltens.
Peace.
Tell you what, Vicky, that you could just tell, beaming with confidence, and as he said, just good vibes all around.
I love how that's always like the response that we get to, you know, try to feel out how a team feels, especially a team that may not have a lot of experience. Whenever I hear the vibes are high, that's how you know there's probably a lot of good quality yapping for this team. They know what to say, they know how to play around each other, and when there's a lot of these players that feel confident playing behind their IGL, that's when they feel enabled to kind of get away with what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought only a month of team play together was impressive, because they looked like a team that had been playing a ton. And it's like the person that represents themselves in court as their own lawyer. I love when they don't have a coach. They're just together as one team, as you would see on Ladder. And I think these are the teams that show the story of what you can become if you don't have a job. If you try hard enough in Rivals to get where you are, and they have a tough task ahead of them with 100 Thieves.
I asked them, Oltens, how do you feel about playing against the likes of teams that are like 100 Thieves? He mentioned it is pretty hard, but they feel like they could still do it. And I like that confidence too. You can't already predict what you expect from a matchup before it even happens.
Yeah, absolutely. 100 Thieves will be taking them on, I believe, Saturday. We have LG Luminosity going against Shikigami. Whoever loses that will be eliminated from stage 1 here. Both those teams, listen, we've seen what they have to offer. Do you have any favorites down there, Vicky?
Looking all the way, I really want to see, just looking at the lower bracket, right? Looking at the two teams that we've seen perform today, I feel like this is going to be a comeback opportunity to VOD review, figure out what you got to do differently. I have faith in LG and seeing what they could do to bring things back, because compare both Shikigami and LG, it was pretty rough here, but at least you have to start somewhere. And if you don't have a lot of scrim practice in general, you gotta figure things out now while you're in that lower bracket, because you have one more chance.
Yeah, it's always hard to see what you got sometimes against 100 Thieves as well. So now they'll have a different matchup to really get up confidence when they go against Shikigami, vice versa there. But listen, we have one more match today. And that last match has an awesome Electra team I've been following. It was one of my first videos covering esports, and that is Sentinels, previously Nightmare, former Marvel Rivals Championship winners. We've got a good one coming up, and they're versus Alani Wind, and that's bound to be a great matchup. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got one more match. We're going to take it to break real quick. We'll be back in just a second for the last match of today.